I like doing instances, right? I like doing instances. I've been really bored on my warrior because my warrior is like basically done with the game. Like I got Icon from Blood Furnace. I got my hit ring from Monotombs. I have the Gruul Shield, King's Defender, Thunder Fury. So I'm selling tanking services on it. And it's always funny because I'm just like, at first I was like 100 gold, that sounds reasonable. And then people whisper me and they're like 100 gold, that's stupid, especially for a warrior. And that was the best part. They're just like, for a warrior, they're like, I could get a paladin for half that price. One guy was like, man, you probably suck ass. And I was like, right. And he was like, give me a free run and prove you don't suck.
Welcome, folks, to episode 18 of Prepared, your weekly TBC podcast. So this week we have some fun, the most interesting things in WoW seem to be not WoW related at times. So we have WoW versus Final Fantasy, which a lot of people are playing and talking about right now. Then we're going to cover the BG changes as well, or rather the results of the short, was it 3 days? Maybe 3 or 4 days, I think it was.
Something like that.
Something like that BG test of Horde versus Horde queuing. We have an update on the server round pops to see what's happening there, or the lack of server round pops, I should say. And yeah, we have some general topics as well, like Feral Druid changes. Zirene's got some new copium to send towards you guys, who will definitely not enrage the YouTube audience and lead to
for my WWWs out there, my worried warriors of the world. I got something for you.
That's good. I like the alliteration, WW.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm always a big fan of alliteration. So for my worried warriors of the world, I got you guys something.
Yeah. So I thought we'd talk about all that, and we have some just interesting topics as well. I saw one guy made an armory. Actually, Zirene, did you see that? Someone made an armory to try to make up for the lack of an armory in WoW.
How does it work?
Well, I'll show you in a bit, but it's not super fancy right now. It's getting there.
All right.
It's getting there. But yeah, how you been over the last week, man?
I've been good. I didn't level a new character. So, I took the week making sure that like all my other characters are all like good. I played my rogue a little bit. I PvP'd in arena.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that actually. How did that go?
We got 1800 in a day.
Nice.
With I have 20 resilience.
Was this on your rogue?
Yeah, it's on my rogue. I realized that
having
it's BM Hunter rogue.
Oh.
And I realized that rogue mage is probably just phenomenally better. It literally does the same thing. Mages do so much damage. And they have ice block, whereas like you don't have a defensive as a warrior or as a BM Hunter. And when people get out of LOS with a BM Hunter, he has no way to like catch them. So connecting as a BM Hunter is kind of hard. But I learned two things. I remembered that arena brings the worst out of me, and two, that arenaing with 7.7k HP and no resilience as a rogue makes arenas really interesting because it's literally a game. When there's another rogue in the game, it's all who sapped who, and the rogues like we go crazy over each other. Like legitimately, you sap the other rogue, he'll trinket vanish, try to sap you, and it's like I sapped you, and it's like no, I sapped you, and it's like no, I sapped you. And that's all it is. It's like I sapped you, and whoever gets the blind on the person who like trinketed, like they insta lose, GG, right? Yeah, you GG. Or if you trinket and then they vanish, cheap shot you, and then they kidney, like it's game over because I don't have enough resilience to survive 8 seconds of CC. I don't have enough resilience. So almost no rogue has enough resilience for that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the rogue fights, which is the most common class in twos, end up being really fucking scuffed because you can't survive anything. Like legitimately nothing. So if you get a CC, you win. If you don't, you lose. That's pretty much all it is. So
it's funny really you mentioned that because I literally made a macro the other day. I was thinking about, because I was trying to do this thing where, I don't know, do you use your stealth bar on your rogue?
Yeah.
So I was trying to eliminate the stealth bar. I know like some top tier rogues do that so that they never have any bar delay when it swaps to stealth bar. So I was trying to do that.
I had some shit where like I vanished and pressed my garrote, but my garrote is also my kidney. So I like vanished kidney and I was like, huh?
Exactly. So I was trying to get rid of that. So I got rid of my stealth bar, but then I found out that like right now for some reason it doesn't even work if you put conditional things. It still like breaks. So you have to move them to separate keys, and that's the only way it works, even if you get rid of your stealth bar. So
yeah.
I was thinking, wait, the only time like I really want to do this really, really fast is usually for the Vanish Cheap Shot. That's like the really crucial one, is the Vanish Cheap Shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, why don't I just bind this to my trinket? Because usually if I'm doing this, I'm trinket Vanish Cheap Shotting in a row. And usually it's also Vanish Cheap Shot. So I bound Cheap Shot after my Vanish and after my trinket as well. So anytime now, like it's literally just like an anti-rogue measure. As soon as I get accept, I just instantly spam that one key, and it's instant Vanish Cheap Shot.
Okay.
And that's actually been the most fun macro I added in because it's literally just rogue versus rogue.
Yeah, for me, my stealth button is my cheap shot button, right? So it's like stealth is 1 and then cheap shot is 1. So it's always been like, if I'm like riding at somebody on a mount and I jump off, I just spam 1, and you don't even like stealth, you just cheap shot them while you're flying through the air. Like it's just really fluid. Yeah. So that's always been something that I've been a fan of, is having something like that. But that actually is funny, like having cheap shot bound to Vanish, right? Yeah. Even is probably a good move.
Yeah, no, I've been having fun with that. But yeah, it's have people been running down your hunter at all? Because that's usually what I do if I see a hunter.
Oh yeah, no. Rogues on hunters. He's just like, my life is miserable with a rogue, and I'm like, really? I thought you're like a BM hunter, and he's like, yeah. But what they do is like, there's no dead zone, but if they're on you with evasion and sprint, he's like, I can't land anything on them, and I'm meleeing them, and I'll miss everything, and then I get no kill commands because I can't hit them or crit them, right? Yeah. So he's like, yeah, a rogue just runs me down and actually kills a BM hunter. And I was like, okay. I see. So yeah, he doesn't like mages or he doesn't like rogue mage, because whenever he goes on the mage, he ice blocks and then just wears out his like his bestial wrath, right? Yeah. So our plan versus mage rogue is I have to open the mage immediately and make the rogue jump on me and basically eat the rogue for a second, because he's like, if you can get the mage to ice block before he pops bestial wrath, he's like, I can eliminate the mage like immediately. So he's like, all you have to do is get the rogue out, and then immediately he's like garrote the mage or whatever for an opener to see if he ice blocks at all, because he's eating damage from the hunter, and then like trinket blind Vanish on the rogue. And because the rogue will probably fucking trinket the blind. Yeah. So he's like, you need to Vanish so that he doesn't return blind. And that's all we have to do, is just make sure that the mage has no ice block versus the hunter. And then the hunter can bestial wrath afterwards. And that's like the only way. So yeah. And then it forces the rogue to come out.
Funny you mentioned that. My modifier key on my trinket is also now a variation of the macro I just told you, which is now it's also trinket blind Vanish. Every macro I added was just to deal with enemy rogues.
Well, yeah, because that's like the most common matchup. Like, I don't know. I have none of the stealth gear too, because obviously.
You don't? That sucks. That's
obviously working on 3 characters is like really painful. I have none of the stealth gear, but I can tell you, every undead or every like non-human I run into, I still get the jump on them, because perception's just so strong, unless they wait out perception or something. Yeah. And I can't find them, but I'll find everybody, and then I see them in like their yellow boots, where it's like, obviously those are the stealth boots from Ramparts, and then they got their Night Slayer helm on, and I'm just like, yeah, that's the Night Watch. Okay. So like they're using stealth gear and I'm not, and I'm like, So every human rogue I lose against, but every like other rogue I beat, usually. But yeah, it's perception is strong. So that's all. That's my conclusion.
It's funny, the rogue versus rogue matchup. It's all like mind games. It's probably the opposite of you, because you're human. But when I see like a stealth class and I think it's a rogue, I think, oh god. Okay, what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna go run out, bait out the perception, then we're gonna immediately run back and blanket AoE the entrance, hopefully when like Runes of Lordaeron or something, and then we just sit in there and hope that we baited out perception, and then maybe we can get a neutral opener. So we do.
Yeah, it's hard.
But yeah, okay. So enough rogue PvP talk to start off the podcast. You said you want to talk about the Pharaoh druid changes. Yeah. So it's apparently something druids are performing really well now. Apparently.
Yeah, Pharaoh druid's performing better than it was before. on single target fights, especially, which obviously is their forte. So like things like Gruul, things like Magtheridon, they're doing a lot better than they were before, and they're actually like up there now with the other single target classes like Enhancement and Ret, and even Rogue, right? So they're actually performing a lot better than I thought they would, and that's including their top end. Of course, like there's a big range for them because they they tank as well. So a lot of the times, so the changes where it was like the energy change or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The energy change seems to, I don't know if that even went in, but I'm pretty sure it did. And that's why we're seeing this. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it went in like the last week, right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. From my understanding, it went in. It's interesting that the top end for the Pharaoh on this like graph is higher than the Rogue.
Yeah.
They're
better rogues.
The super top end. Yeah.
But yeah, they like, and that's the thing too, is like they're insanely not insanely good, but they're like a good class to roll in general, in my opinion, because the fact that one, they do well single target, and two, they're good tanks.
As well. Yeah,
they're good tanks. So I don't think I've met a feral druid in the last week that doesn't like their class right now, because they're like, oh yeah, like ever since the change, they're like, they like DPSing. They are like basically the new Fury Prot in terms of the damage they deal to bosses when they're tanking. Like Mangle does a lot. They get to stack AP. Like my friend's druid, when he tanks, he has like 3.3k AP and like 33% crit, because you get the 5% from your own buff. And they get to stack agility, and like he's got like 40 or 38% dodge or something like that. So yeah, they are in a good spot right now, and they're going to get better with time. So ferals are interesting, because I'm always interested in like the three tanking classes, right? Yeah. Like Paladin, Druid, and Warrior. And I'm of course still of the opinion that Warrior is like the worst of the three, because I've been leveling my Paladin, like my level like 61, 62 Paladin does more AoE threat than my Warrior, and he's got like 90 spell power. So
even the druids are jealous, because I two of the rogues in my guild.
So easy.
They literally rerolled to be our new two tanks, because we decided going to TBC, but like, okay, if we want our guild to be good, our rogues are really sweaty players. Let's make them into like some of our core tanks then. So like two of the rogues rerolled into like one into Pharaoh Druid and one into our prot Pally, and even the Druid, who's now in full bis tank, he's in full bis. I think he's done with his gear. He's totally done, because he's a tank. He got funneled gear, and on top of that, he doesn't need, like, a lot of his stuff is like honor gear and some other stuff. So yeah, he's in full bis, and even he on his new Paladin out that he's leveling, he says, "Dude, this is so dumb. All this Paladin does is press consecration." Yep. That's all he has to do.
It feels like your threat meter is broken, because you press consecration, and then something has like instantly like 1.9k threat, and you're like, what did I do? It swung at you, 8 like sanctity, retribution aura, a holy shield, and a consecration tick, and it's got like 2k threat already, and you're like, fuck. Like, Jesus Christ. Like the thing is Warrior feels, in my opinion, like the most active of all three. I feel like even when I like played Druid for a little bit, the activity of a Warrior seems so much higher, because you're filling every GCD with Devastate. It's like Shield Slam's greater than Revenge, greater than Devastate, greater than Heroic Strike, and you have to be shield blocking on cooldown, which is a lower cooldown than like all the other defensives, and you have to keep Demo Shout Up and Thunderclap. So you're monitoring multiple things, and you have to make sure that you're like keeping aggro on everything if you're like not just tanking a boss. So Warrior feels like the most active of the three, and then Feral feels like it's the next like. Feral feels like you're probably pressing the least number of buttons, but it seems like you're doing the most single target damage. And then Paladin feels like there's a difference. I guess I'll put it this way: the difference between like a great warrior and a bad warrior is like really fucking stark, right? Yeah. Like a bad warrior is like not demo shouting and like wondering why they're taking so much damage. They're eating crushing blows and all that shit. And then like difference between like a great druid and a bad druid is actually like pretty decent as well, mostly because of threat, because they aren't hitting all their buttons. And then like a paladin, it's like you can't tell the difference half the time. Like as long as they're pressing consecration and they're using the right seal, they're good. If somebody's like running in with like seal of light and only consecrating and like not pre-consecrating or holy shielding or something, then you're like, okay, this guy's not great, but he'll still probably hold aggro. That's fine.
No, I know the difference between experienced paladins. The ones that have learned that they can't yell too much at their group for going too early. Do your paladins yell at you as well, where they're like, guys, just please, I need the mob to hit me. Just let him hit me first, and then we're good.
Yeah. Whenever they say that, I'm like, just get in there faster. Like that's always been the solution, by the way. Whenever in speed runs back in the day in the classic, whenever a tank would say something like, just let me hit the mob, guys, I would always think in my head, like, just get there sooner. Like if you're a tank, like just get there sooner. That was always my thought process was if a DPS dies because they hit a mob before you, even if they have intercept and you don't have like stance, like tactical mastery or anything like that, just get there sooner. Like do what you have to do to get there sooner. So that's when like swiftness Zanza became like a big thing for me as an off tank and then a main tank. And just swiftness Zanza because like just get there sooner. Like if you're main tanking, your mob dies first, and then you start running to the next fucking pack while like Skull's dead. Start fucking running to the next pack because your thing's dying first. And then as they kill X, Square, and like Moon, you're already at the next pack, like ahead of everybody. Just get there sooner. So that was always the thing. It was like, just get there sooner. If you're a prop paladin, just get there sooner. Just get in there faster. So that's always I have very little sympathy for people who are just like, just let me hit it a little bit. The only time I think that's like appropriate is when it's like a boss pull or something where it's like, oh, I got to throw Decapitator and I need to get a misdirect. Just watch threat while the off tank gets up there for Groll, and that's it. And that's all. Just don't. Yeah. So that's like the only thing that I'm like, So just get there sooner most of the time, especially instances. So yeah, but feral druids, they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah. You said as well that the range between a good and bad feral druid is large as well, and you can see here, like rogues already are one of the classes where we have a pretty big difference between a really good rogue and a really bad rogue, but feral druids is even bigger.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's because they're taking into account the bear feral druids. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's tricky because of the tank stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if they can tell the difference. Is there a tank version of this? Like at the top of it.
It's just feral.
Okay. Gotcha.
Feral, Guardian, Resto, Ward, and Balance.
Yeah. I don't know what these other ones are, by the way, because there's like Gladiator Warrior, and I'm like, I don't know what you are.
Gladiator Warrior. He only plays Arena.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? The Gladiator Warrior, dude. What is that? There's a Warden Warrior as well. That I don't know. Warcraft logs needs to. I love them. I love them. This is the preface I will make to this. Please get your shit together for this stuff, because like Karazhan, nobody's taking Karazhan like that seriously right now because there's no trash requirements, right? And I'll tell you, there was like a salad baker's pre-clear for speedrun.
Oh,
like
really?
go in there, clear all the trash ahead of time, and then start your run. And it's like, well, there's no trash requirements, so like, okay, who cares? Like pre-clear is like, come on, and it'll still count because there's no invalidating logs for anything, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah, there's like pre-clears going on and shit for like speed runs and stuff, but it's like nobody wants to even like look at that or think of that.
Weird. But I mean, speaking of tanks, you said that you had some warrior tanking copium for us today?
Oh yeah, I lied last week when I was like, I was talking to the warriors and I was like, hey guys, it's only going to get worse for us. Like you should go play Paladin or Feral Druid, and like it's only going to get worse, right? Like Thunderclap is like your AoE tanking. It doesn't really scale with anything, and I lied. So I got my icon of Unyielding Courage this week.
Okay.
Thunderclap scales with armor penetration. So boys, when T6 comes out, we take the DPS version of the set. We stack armor penetration. We can Thunderclap for 200 damage instead of 150, okay? When we stack armor pen, we're going to be good, okay? We're going to at least be able to tank 4 things. And that'll be like 3 more than normal, which will make us fantastic. So, I actually think for some reason that when we get to T6, Warriors will have enough defense from other places that we actually probably should be taking the DPS version of the set. Because if you look at the two, there's only stamina on the tank set. There's only stamina, and the set bonuses are decent. I think the 4 set's good, but the 2 sets, it's like 170 HP. And it's all stamina and then defense and like parry. And parry is a good stat, by the way, for us because it gives us, resets on our attack. So it is a threat gen in a way. But yeah, so more agility, more strength, basically the same stamina, and then armor penetration seems like a fucking good deal to me. But I actually think armor pen may be one of our biggest threat gens later on, to be completely honest. Stacking armor pen may be something that allows us to tank again. So.
So what you're saying?
Go get your badge of the Swarm Guard.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so badge of the Swarm Guard then?
Yeah, tank prio.
Huh.
But it actually was interesting when I was like, I was thunderclapping in like instances and stuff because I'm tanking for people and like AoEing heroics and stuff. And it actually is like decent threat with Imp Thunderclap. And then actually putting on the armor pen wasn't bad because it increased the damage of my cleave and it increased the damage of my Thunderclap. So it wasn't terrible. It was actually decent. And I thought it was something where like if armor pen is like a free stat on gear that you're getting already, then it actually is only going to help you a decent amount, which was an interesting discovery. That
so what you're saying is we're going to be running some melee comms with the warriors thunderclapping everything.
Potentially. Oh, it was interesting though. I thought it was a really weird thing that it like scaled with armor pen, and then I think that tanking gear does get like, because right now people are hitting like I am hit capped without a boomkin or Draenei, and have 490 defense. And I have like 13k HP. So like my gear's only going to get better. So I'm only going to have more access to easy defense. So I'm pretty sure you'll be defense capped without having to like I'm pretty sure you can get defense capped through like 7 items, right? And then the rest of your items you could actually just use, because I'm not using like anything that has defense on my trinkets or my ring, right? So because you're already using like an expertise ring, right? And you want to use this item's going to be a problem in the future. This was the other thing I want to talk about because people like item prio discussions.
Oh god. Okay.
Is the belt from Lady Vaj.
The melee one?
Mm-hmm. Who gets that first? Because that's BIS for rogues, ferals, enhancements, rets, prot warriors, fury warriors. Like, and that's the thing. Is like prot warriors are also like, that's my best belt because it has 25 expertise on it. And so people are like, it's tank prio, and people were like, but it's also like rogue BIS and like all these other people. So I'm like, I'm like, expertise, it probably should go to warriors, right? We're having this discussion because I want to have, I want to have something to show people.
That's interesting, actually, because my guild leads did ask like what people would be willing to pass up on some prio this phase for something next phase. That may be in the discussion then, because like I was saying about the DST prio, where some people were going to get the DST. That definitely, if you got a DST, that means you'd probably be pushing yourself down the line for that belt.
Yep, and that belt's good. That belt is really good. I actually don't know how long you use it, but it's a really good belt.
So the only armor pen then you for just armor pen stack theory is badge? Is that the only other thing besides like what else?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. Badge, icon, and then that's it right now. Later on, there'll be more things like, especially in T6 and Zul'Aman. Like everything in Zul'Aman has armor pen on it. Like,
icon basically is low key pretty good though. Even for rogues,
yeah.
It's actually a pretty good trinket.
Yeah. 30 hit, and then the 600 armor pen on use is really good.
Yeah.
It actually helps me a lot on pull. So it's actually really strong trinket.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this warrior comp take shape. I'm sure Fight Club will have nothing bad to say about this theory crafting.
Well, the thing is, people haven't worked out like what's BIS in the T6, so everybody's looking at T5 right now, and I'm like, I wonder, because you could probably hit defense cap and then start going for, or even using resilient. I mean, to be honest, I think they'd be all right with it because right now they're already doing things like sacrificing uncritable I like one of the things I saw was like they're using resilience and then leaving like 0.06 or something like that of allowing yourself to be crit. It was something where I was like, I wasn't quite sure on like one of the lists I saw that was like, this is from Fight Club. So, but they like resilience a lot because they like crit and AP.
Yeah.
Right. Which I'm becoming more and more a fan of crit and AP because once something doesn't kill you in one hit, it's the healer's problem now. So you're just like, I don't need 50k HP. I could use like all right, I guess I'll use a more realistic example. I was at like 19k HP and I was like, I don't need 19k HP. I could be at like 17 or 16 and a half and not die in 2 hits. So that's the healer's problem now. So instead of being able to take 3 hits and like, or 4 hits and like be okay, I can take 3 hits and be okay. And somebody needs to heal me in that time. And then it's their fault if I die. So yeah, now my job is holding threat. And that requires you to use more agility, more crit, more AP. And I think that's going to be something that people will be a fan of because I actually do like the way that the warrior tier is statted on tier 6 for the DPS set versus the tank set. Because the tank sets right now, some of the pieces have like strength, agility, and stamina on it, and then they just get rid of the agility and the strength, and they just give you like defense rating and parry. Which parry is your best defensive stat because it is an offensive stat too, right? It's the only one of the 3 that really still gives you rage aside from like block. But it gives you like a swing and shit. So yeah, it's interesting. And I think that the amount that you lose, because if you look at like the tier sets, you're losing like, God, I want to say it's like 50 strength or something. It's like 50 strength or like 30 or 40 agility per piece that you're not wearing of the DPS set. So I feel like if you're able to get defense capped through other means, you don't want to like completely stack yourself out the ass with avoidance in Black Temple. I think you still want to get hit a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's interesting you said that that you never need that extra stamina though, because that's what my warrior said in our raid the other night. He didn't think he needed like a little bit of extra stamina from this one piece of gear, and then Magtheridon overkilled him by 16 HP. And then it turns out he did need the extra 30 HP.
No, man. Like that's the thing is like, you know, maybe the healers need a little extra healing, you know? That's the thing too, is there's always so many things there where it's like, did he have shield block up? Did he have demo shout still up? Was thunderclap still up? Because that's the thing is a lot of people will get killed by Magtheridon and they're just like, how did I die? And I'm just like, you ate like an 8k hit. Like that's supposed to be like, you know, like 7k or 7.3. Like it's like, did you not have like demo shout up? And it's like, no, like he's not doing it. He's worried about his threat or something. And even then it's like, sometimes you get melee hit and then cleaved. And that's sometimes that's a really big monk ass. But as long as you don't get like insta killed, right? Like now he's just like, what all it means is he needs to just maybe get like a little bit more stamina, maybe like 1-2 pieces more, and then he can just do whatever the fuck he wants, right? So you just need to get to the threshold. He just wasn't above the threshold, just a little bit. He just need to be a little bit above that threshold, and then he's fine. So that's it. I can't tell you how many times I've like, even when I'm wearing full mitigation gear, when this reverberation on Gruul goes out and everybody's silenced, and he hits me once for like 6k. And then I have like 6k HP left, and I'm just like I'm just like heavy breathing, like, and then I see a miss, and I'm like, I could have just died there. It's like I could have just died. It's that same feeling, like where I was crossing the street once, and I almost got hit by a car, and the rest of the day I was just like, I could have almost died. Like the guy in the lane next to where the car had just gone through, like rolled down his window, and he was like, "Enjoy the day, you're gonna love it," because I almost fucking died. And it's that same feeling where you're just like, oh my God, like I saw my life like split. I saw my character's life split there into a reality where I just ate shit, and one where like the one we live in where I didn't. And we chose this one today where he just like missed me. I'm like, oh my God. So I understand mitigation is good. I understand it's good for very good reason. Right. But it's times like those where I do wonder how much threat I should be wearing, because sometimes healers can't heal you. And I get that.
Speaking of mitigation, rogues, by the way, if rogues out there play arena and you guys don't know, shiv goes through evasion. Just so you guys know, I had a fun arena match the other day where both our partners died. It was just me versus another rogue with no cooldowns left. Yeah. So you can shiv through, like, because shiv can't be parried or dodged. So literally, I was on like, So I was on like 1 HP or whatever, but I soloed him from like 30 or 40%. Because we just sat there staring at each other, and then he didn't know the shiv thing, and he just got shivved to death.
I've always shivved in evasion duels out of habit because normally poisons fall off because people are evading, right? Like they're just like you can't hit them with your crippling poison, and you're just like, no, because as soon as one rogue gets away from the other in that duel, like then you're just like, well, he's gonna try to reset on me, right? Yeah. So I had the most infuriating thing happen. Where, like, a rogue got away from me, and he came in to re-stealth, and as he was walking towards me and re-stealth, I swung at him and hit him with 2 white hits, and then he was in stealth, and I was in combat and couldn't re-stealth. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I was like, I fucking hate this game. I was like, what the fuck?
The best is when you vanish and then you still get hit through the vanish by something like that. That's really triggering. When you vanish and like the kidney shot or cheap shot you through the vanish somehow. But yeah, so enough copium talk for now. I think we'll see how people like that one.
We'll try and not upset people. But it does get the gears turning. It's stuff like that I like to think about, where it's like, what is it going to look like in a few phases, right? Because I think like Serpentine Cavern, Black Temple, and Sunwell will be the things that people like really care about for speedrunning at least, and for like big threat. Because I don't think Tempest Keep or Hyjal are like particularly fun or interesting to speedrun. And here's the speedrun talk for a second. I think
this will definitely make the people happy.
Yeah, I think that like people aren't speedrunning Karazhan. It's a 10-man. People aren't interested. People are like kind of doing speed kills on like Magtheridon and Gruul, which Rain ended up getting number one. It's kind of, I'll be honest, it's a kind of cringe meta right now, where you wipe for 3 hours on purpose to try and get the right kill. Like Rain got number 1 alliance and number 3 in the world last week, and it was like, really? He's like, if you don't get out of phase 1 fast enough, or like one person dies and you have to B-res them, you're like, just wipe it out. And you're like, this is not fun. This is not fun. This is not fun at all. So yeah, don't like that. And I think Serpentine Cavern, and when we get trash requirements, which I really hope for, and honestly, if Warcraft Logs doesn't make them, I feel like they should just like, somebody should find a way to like get them up there for trash requirements for SSC and for Black Temple at least, because there's interesting routing in those places, right? Going through bosses in a different order, changing up the order in which you do them. To me, kind of like how people were doing Nax and stuff, you could do a different order. That would change, and that like defines the meta as well. So I think Serpentine Cavern and Black Temple, as well as Sunwell, will be very interesting to speedrun. But I also think that people won't be as interested in Tempest Keep and Hyjal for 2 reasons. One is number of bosses isn't very high in either of those. I know Serpentine Cavern isn't higher than like Hyjal or anything like that, but Hyjal has a lot of breakpoints in it, and Tempest Keep is 4 bosses and very little trash. It's almost like a boss like kind of fiesta, except for the trash pre-alar. And I think that people speedrunning 2 instances in a phase is probably going to burn people out more. So I think people will choose to go for SSC and Black Temple in those phases respectively. So yeah, I don't think people are going to be wanting to speedrun 2 instances. I think noobs will be like, fuck this shit, we're speedrunning everything no matter what anyway, because that's noob. Did you know that noobs has 2 guilds, 2 raids?
Wait, what?
Yeah. If you go to Warcraft Logs, they have Noobs AOT Alliance and Noobs AOT Horde.
I see.
Noobs
that is the most noobs thing to be doing.
Noobs, instead of having like 3 of the same characters, like they did in Classic, they actually have a Horde guild and an Alliance guild, both. They didn't just re-roll, right? So they actually have 1 of each. So
they'll be prepared then. Yeah, because it's really hard to tell where speedrunning would go right now, just because like this phase is so scuffed. I got a message from one of the guys who's on a guild that speedruns and does that stuff, and he was asking me like, "Hey Snow, what do you think the best rogue rotation is here for this 13-second grow kill?" And I'm like, Are we really optimizing rotations for 13 seconds now? Is that what we've come down to?
Nom, 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 nom. Yeah, dude, it's the High King thing is really funny. Also weird. Don't know if this is gonna work or not, but the ogres outside of High King you can MC, and they will give you a 30-second 30% attack speed buff. They'll give you Bloodlust if you NC them, and if you zone in, it doesn't go off.
Oh god.
So yeah, don't know if it drops on combat yet. So I'm literally gonna test that in like an hour or two. So yeah, that'll be really weird. And I know people like already saying that you can do it, but yeah, I'm not sure. Somebody said trash requirements to prevent free clearing, or because you don't want people to skip with invis. No. Trash requirements because I think that creativity and speedruns thrives under constraints. When there's too much open, people just get like, when there's too much and you have completely free reign, I don't think creativity thrives under complete free reign. That just makes people go like there's too many things. As soon as you clamp down and say you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this, people go like, okay, how can I navigate this better, right? Once you give people constraints, they actually become more creative and more motivated, right? Because it's almost like a challenge in a sense. And this is studies have actually proven this time and time again with artists and with just creativity in general. Is once you give constraints and guidelines, people will be able to people flourish under those types of situations. So when it comes to speedrunning, a lot of the competitive side is figuring out not just against each other how to be better, but also against the constraints of what the requirements are. So that's kind of my thought process behind it, or at least what I've seen. So, like prohibition, sort of. Yeah. When you tell people they can't do something, they'll find a way to get around it, and that's like something that motivates people like subconsciously. So.
I mean, this links interestingly into one of the topics I want to talk about, where players are creating their own armories now, and then it got me thinking, because I saw someone was making their own armory, so I'll screen share it for people to have a look at this, where people are literally making their own character armories. And for people that don't know, Ironforge Pro already had like kind of an armory function. It kind of just mines the logs and sees
the level
what gear.
52 undead rogue.
Yeah. As you can see, the information they have is maybe a little out of date on some of these armories. This one thinks I'm still in the very first guild that I joined Classic in phase 1 of vanilla. So some information seems to be outdated, but it got me thinking that armories are a thing that really connected me to my character a lot of the times. And in a lot of MMOs, not just WoW. I remember looking at my armory and that being a real thing, where you would like look at your buddy's armory and then you would look at your armory, and then when you got a new piece of gear, you'd be really excited to have that show up on your armory. And it's the same in EverQuest as well. Did that come
out in TBC?
I don't remember when armories came out originally. I think it was TBC, but I don't remember. I don't exactly remember when armories became a thing. But I remember this in even in EverQuest, they had armories, and it was a really big thing because people want to show off the gear and be proud of.
You ever see the endless armory stuff?
I saw a little bit of it, but this is kind of fancy. Some of the options on this, but yeah, I was. It got me thinking about the connection to the character, and like what could Blizzard do to really invest into Classic? Because when I was looking for topics for this week, I saw a bunch that were like, oh, this is really cool. This is like a really cool thing in WoW. And the one I saw specifically was the 2 ring. Do you know about the 2 ring?
The 2 ring versus like the 1 ring?
Yeah. So the 2 ring is literally just an item that comes from the fishing daily. And it's so rare that most people don't even know it really exists. And this is almost like this rumor mill thing, but you have people who know it exists, who are just doing this every day. And then when they finally do get it, they're really proud about it. It's things like this, I feel, that really connect you to your character. And then you look back at that accomplishment and be like, yeah, I did that. I did the fishing daily every day. And then I got that interesting one item. But I don't know how, like, what Blizzard could try to create this experience more to really do it.
I'm not sure, because like, I feel like WoW became this thing where everybody cares about min-maxing, right? Everybody cares about the combat and min-maxing. And and they care about the PvP, the combat, and like the min maxing, and that's been like the culture of it. So like having something like this where it's like this ring is like, oh, like a really special thing. Like nobody really cares that much about that stuff anymore. That plays WoW. They care about like the epic loot from raids and like showing that you cleared the raid and everything like that. And that's something that like I think, you know, there's this whole back and forth on like Final Fantasy and WoW, is that a lot of people who care about those things are playing Final Fantasy because they care about like the cosmetics, they care about like the mounts, they care about those types. They are not playing TBC. There's not a lot of like that social gear aspect of it. And I'm not sure what they could do personally, because I'm one of them in maxers, right? I don't like, well, I played Final Fantasy 11, I played Final Fantasy 14, and the things that like I didn't really like about those games is like the PvP in them was not something that like matched up like the PvP in WoW. And when it came to like, you know, mounts and like how things look, those things are very, very like not even tertiary to me. They're very like far beyond. I don't really care. So
well, I mean, the interesting thing with this ring though is that supposedly it's really good for PvP. But only for specific classes. Like I've heard that apparently Soda Poppin might be using 2 of these right now for PvP.
Oh, interesting. He's feral.
Yeah, pretty much just it might be like just a druid thing. Yeah. So I got me thinking, like, man, what if the item was actually good, and then they added these things in? But I don't know, man. It's one of those things where you look back at all the stuff with nostalgia, and you think, man, is there a way to recreate like the armory experience and would armories be a thing that would make people more connected to WoW again? Because I don't know.
What armories would be used for is if somebody wanted to join your party, you'd go look up their armory and then tell them yes or no.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. No, you legitimately would. You'd be like, because that's what happened on that's what happens on retail with not just gear score but like arena. There's a fucking website that there's a website that tells you if somebody's lying to you about their arena experience. I forget what it is, but it's a website where like if somebody tells you, oh yeah, I'm like 3-time gladiator, you can just punch their name in and it'll tell you if they're lying or not. Like it'll show you their character and then their account history of gladiator that's connected to that character in that account. So it gathers everything. I forget what it's called. Yeah, check PvP. That's what it is. It's check PvP.
But this site is crazy. It maps out all the person's arts.
Yeah. So you can go to
all right, Zirene, what's your account?
It's Zirene Tichondrius, but like this is like the new retail account and shit that I played for like a month. It's EENE. Yeah. It's the Paladin. Yeah.
Let's see. Max rating 3. How far back does this see?
It sees like back a lot, but I only played Shadowlands, so yeah. I got like
how far back does this show from my character?
Yeah, I got RBG of 2100. I was like 2200 in 2s, and then in 3s I don't really care. Okay, because I'm a 2s player.
My character doesn't exist. Okay, so it wasn't that. It seems Arena Season 1 doesn't exist. Okay.
Oh,
either that or my character's been deleted.
No. Oh yeah. So it tells you right there, like season 0 maximum. Like yeah. So I was 2130 in 2s, and I was 2150 in RBGs, and 1900 in 3s. But it'll like tell you all that shit, and it gives you like It gives you a CPB, which is a check PvP battle group score, which shows you your score based on rating, based on season rating, and then like win and loss. Right. So I don't think it's for this. I think it's like on reach rating. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I haven't played in a long time, but yeah, there's, and you can see on the right, you see that thing that's constantly moving.
Yeah.
That's people looking at other people. It shows you who's looking at other people. Go to Repercussion Archimond. So when you go down, if you scroll down, right, it'll show you Shadowlands, BFA, Legion, Warlord of Draenor, their alts maximum experience. So if somebody tells you, yeah, I'm a 3000 experience on my other character, you can go here and see if they're lying or not.
Jesus, that's pretty fancy. Okay, so I guess that's the future of Armory then, for that idea.
I mean, there's a lot of things that exist on retail that don't exist in Classic. There's also that I don't know. Did we talk about this website? We might have talked about this last time. There's a website that takes your log and compares it against Mythic players and the top parsers and tells you exactly what you need to do to be like them.
Oh yeah. Well, I've seen that site, but yeah, I don't think we've talked about it before. But I've seen that site.
Yeah. It's really interesting because what it does is it'll tell you like you missed, because like I played like Holy Paladin, right? And it's like for Holy Paladin, you should always be Holy Shocking on cooldown. Even if somebody has max HP, it'll still give them the legendary shield. It'll give them shock barrier, right? And it'll give them the glimmer of light. So even if they're full HP, you should use it. And it'll tell you how many Holy Shock cooldowns you missed or used a different spell during Holy Shock being up, right? Or you cast something else that put your Holy Shock when it was about to come on cooldown on GCD, and it'll scold you for that. So it literally is like, WoW Analyzer. It'll analyze your log and tell you exactly what you needed to do instead. But this is stuff where like you're saying like what could make people connect to like their armory more. I actually feel like these are the things that we need that are going to make people connect more to their character, because I feel like more people that play WoW right now care about skill, logs, things like that, than they care more about the RP stuff. What's really funny though is like there's not a lot of RP things that I think people care about or like feel like they missed out on, except for there's God, what is it? I think it's Grobulus or whatever. Like some RP servers actually have like RP events.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's Grobulus. Grobulus has like, they have a newspaper. Grobulus has a newspaper, like a weekly kind of newspaper thing that comes out.
They have concerts. They have things where like people go and then a DJ will actually DJ for them. I think they all join like a voice thing, or I think one of them was called like Burning Grob. So Grobapalooza. So they actually have those things. So the RP server, that's like something where like if people care about those things, they go roll on Grobulus, right? And they go join the Grob mob, I think is what they call themselves. So yeah.
You mentioned like the retail has a lot of things that Classic doesn't, which brings about an interesting side topic that I've thought about, where with Classic, a lot of people are very anti-retail to the point where if retail has it, they don't want to even have that mentioned in the same sentence as Classic. And sometimes I wonder how right or wrong that thinking actually is, because I don't think necessarily just because retail has something is necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, well, this is in retail. That means in Classic it would definitely be bad. And if we put that into the game, it would ruin everything. Right? I don't necessarily think that's the way to be thinking about things sometimes. Like, I think that there has to be a middle ground somewhere where you can put things in from retail that are good and not ruin Classic. It's not like every single change in retail ruin retail. There's some specific changes that ruin retail.
Yeah. I think a great example of this is my chat was talking about when I was talking a few weeks ago about how like the Fairlina looking for group chat moves too fast and it lags you. Like being in there is like bad because it was like people are just spamming it, right? It's just moving way too fucking fast. And I was like, I can't even like look at this. And if I want to get seen, I have to spam myself. And somebody was like, oh, just download LFG Bulletin. Yeah. And I was like, LFG Bulletin. And then somebody else was like, no, fuck that thing. It's going to take away the social aspect of it. Like, don't do it. It's going to ruin it. That's a retail thing. And so I was like, So I downloaded it. And all it does is it parses LFG chat and it has a list of like shattered halls. It has a list of every instance. And then if somebody says LFG for it, it has like keywords or whatever, and it pops it up underneath it. And it'll say like normal or heroic. This person is looking for 3 more for shattered halls. This person is looking for blood furnace, etc. And you still have to whisper them though, right? So it's like people seem very vehemently against anything that's close to something in retail. But what this did is this really helped me get groups, even as a fucking rogue, right? As a rogue, to see if somebody's looking for heroic black morass or whatever without having to like use my eyes. It's way easier to look at and parse through. So it's a filter, but people seem like really against it in my chat because they felt like it could take away the aspect of the game that was social, right? It's not like you click looking for this thing and it searches for you. You still have to whisper these people, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that I thought was really interesting, was people, like you said, are very against anything if you mention it that could be close to retail. But this is actually really nice for like a high pop server or a server that has LFG that moves too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have 2 of these add-ons.
Yeah,
I don't
me
just
too.
have one. I have 2. And then I also have to remember to turn them off because sometimes you leave them on, they start lagging you out because they're constantly passing everything. Because I was in Karazhan the other night and I was like, why am I lagging so much?
Why is my frame rate so bad?
Yeah, what is going on? And then I realized, oh wait, yeah, that's right. I have like 5,000 looking for group add-ons installed.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right though. There is a way to add things that are from retail in some way, shape, or form, without giving it the retail twist that people are so upset about, right? And the thing that people feel like killed WoW for them.
Yeah.
So there's a way to add features and quality of life changes and improvements. For example, same faction BG without it being mercenary mode, right? Like, because I thought that was a really good change, despite being an alliance player. I thought it was a really good change. And I fucking Beatty made me laugh so hard the other day, where she was PvPing. Beatty's like the regular, it's a power social I talked about last week. Where she was like PvPing and in queue, and she's been PvPing a lot. She's got like full priest gear, and she was like, "These queues are so long," and I was like, "Wait, how long are the queues?" She's like, 3 minutes. I was like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, the alliance players like 3-minute queues. Oh, it's so long. They're like, this is ruining everything. Oh, they were like, I could like get up and go get water during this queue. Oh my god, I don't have time to wait. Yeah, Beatty I don't have time to wait. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I stuff like that where I'm just like, I feel like there's a way to introduce it like the same faction BG without introducing the retail idea of mercenary mode, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there has to be a middle ground. To use the looking for group bulletin board example, there's actually another add-on. I don't know if you saw it. It's called looking for group matchmaker.
Yes, I have that one too.
Yeah, and that one takes a step further where it does automate some things. And I did feel when I was using it that okay, maybe this might be crossing into the realm where it's like okay, now this is taking away the social aspect because I'm not really whispering now. It like auto whispers for me and it does all these other things. So for me, that's where the line came. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't like using this. I know it's easier, but I don't actually like using this because I don't feel like I'm playing the game anymore. It feels like this add-on's playing the game for me.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, playing Rogue, I was just like, "Is just
take what I can get. I gotta install as many add-ons as possible. Anything to get a group."
Yeah. I was like, anything to get a group at this point, dude. I actually got. What was I doing? I was doing like a Shattered Halls normal on my Rogue, and I was like, everybody in this group is doing 400 in DPS, 500 DPS, including like myself on things, and I'm like, some trash packs I'll do more, but I was like, I just feel like I just don't do any damage. I think it was like. They were like mages or something, like nothing that improves like my damage or anything like that. And I'm like, I'm doing like 400, 500 damage with like Gressel, Latros. And I'm like, And then I went and played my Ellie Shaman and I'm doing 1.2k for the entire instance in heroic, not even fucking normal. And I'm like, I'm literally doing the damage of my last entire fucking group as one character. I was like, this is fucking crazy. This is insane. And that's why that's my dopamine character. But it's just like, God, like rogues are miserable, dude. So like anything to help me get a group, I was like, sometimes maybe I will sneak a little, matchmaker in there. Sometimes I because that one pops up and goes like, this person's looking for this. Do you want to whisper them? It's like, and you're like, okay, yeah.
You gotta get a whisper in early as a rogue. You gotta get in like you said last week. You gotta get in there before they get like
filled.
Yeah, before 10 hunters whisper them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you got to whisper them DPS INV. You don't say rogue. Just once again.
I took it a step further on one of my rogues. I renamed my name in details to Hunter. That's another aspect. If only I could find a way to get rid of them knowing my class from the color of my name. I would have a full Hunter set now because I've got the bow. I showed you the screenshot. I have the bow from from Prince now, so I have my Hunter set ready. I can pretend to be a Hunter.
He's a DST and he has the bow from Prince, so he basically is a Hunter. You probably do the same damage as a rogue by shooting now. So No, Nioxic just said I tried to get a guild group for my rogue, and people try to talk me into just tanking the dungeon on my pally. Yeah, that's exactly what happens to me too with my warrior. Is we'll be looking, we'll have like a healer, 3 DPS, and no tank, and then like after like 20 minutes of looking, I'll be like, do I have to tank this? I think I have to tank. It's like literally either there's no group at all, and you don't even get to run the instance, or everybody but you gets to run the instance on the character they want, and you're like, this sucks.
I feel bad for the rogues that whisper me when I'm making groups as well, because
me too.
They already know. They already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, well, I'm kind of doing this for my shoulders. I can't be bringing a second rogue in here. It's already hard enough having to make this group.
Well, what happens is I sit there and I go, look, buddy, if you were in my position, would you invite me? Okay, moving on. Like the Old Hills Brad, and I got 2 rogues who whispered me. I definitely want to run. Like, here's the thing: is I don't even want to run one rogue in my fucking Old Hills Bad group, and I'm that rogue. So it's like I don't even want to invite me to that group, right? I'd rather be playing a different character, getting these things for my rogue. Like, I'm about to just like multi-box, like legitimately, I'll bring my Ellie Shaman, have my rogue on follow on the healer or something, and probably do more damage than if I had invited 2 rogues, right? It's like that's a better group for me. It's just insane that it just fucking sucks, dude. It sucks.
But yeah. we got a little bit sidetracked, but the BG, what did you get to do much BGs at all? Did you play some BGs?
A little, just a little bit. Everything was pre-made. Hold on. Yes, here it is. It's it was this.
Okay, wait, let me open this.
It's fucking good. You're gonna have to zoom in for the people.
Group queue times are too long. We'll make them same faction. They'll solve the problem. Same faction, but pre-mades. Now I saw this. Yeah. But the queue times are shorter.
I want to find his pre-mates.
It's okay, Zuggy. Zuggy lumps.
It's okay, Zuggy lumps. We'll remove the nasty pre-mates. What did you do? It's so good. Oh god.
But yeah, the pre-mades wait, I gotta close this. The pre-mades I had so much fun doing BGs. It brought me back to the time when my guild would do stuff together, and like that just didn't exist for a long time because we couldn't do BGs anymore. Like my guild used to do BGs together all the time, but that kind of died when the BG queues were an hour long. No one wants to just sit there together for an hour and do one BG. So it was really nice. It was really nice for the few days. Like everyone was like, all right, let's do it. And we didn't even have full pre-mades every time because we didn't really we weren't min-maxing it. So like sometimes we were half pre-mades, and we would lose some because we went to full pre-made, and we would go against a pre-made sometimes. But
how many alliance teams did you fight?
Not many. Not many. It was pretty much mostly all horde. But I had fun. I had a lot of fun. It was nice being able to play that aspect of the game. That it almost feels like I just forgot about that entire aspect of the game because I did. I didn't do any BGs for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, man. It was so much fun, and it's gone now, and everyone's back to the same old thing where it's like, well, we're not really doing BGs now because the queues are back. Although it's not as bad now. I think right now it's about 30 minutes or so, but that's still pretty bad. 30 minutes is still pretty bad for the queue, honestly. Yeah. Do you think they'll bring it back soon?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was overwhelmingly positive. I think a lot of the here's actually something that I think is interesting is I think a lot of the people they talk to about changes like this are the Horde players, because even though the Horde has like a higher population, I think the amount of content creators that speak with Blizzard about things like this are Horde, like Venruki, Zico, people like that who have like a direct line to Blizzard and have like, I know there's a Discord where they actually talk to like devs and get feedback and stuff like that. That I know that there's a lot of people who have like overwhelmingly positive feedback for this, / negative feedback for criticism for the fact that there is no there was no solution to like the hour long queues, right? And going back to it just feels bad, right? And that's probably the feedback that they're getting right now is, hey, this feels really bad to be like given super short queues and then going back to an hour queue. And then we know there's a solution to this. And yet we're choosing to like sit and let people suffer instead of continually run the test, right? So it's like, why run the test and then stop the test instead of run the test until you feel like it's bad and then make a conclusion of yes or no instead of give it to us and then take it away, because it's not damaging, right? But the problem is, I think right now Blizzard is a little scarred from giving people too much honor from that one day, so they don't want people to have access to a ton of honor and then take it away and forever, and then be like, yeah, we made a mistake. If you didn't play during these last few days, then you're fucked as a horde player, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want to like extend that period, is what I think is going on.
Yeah, and the thing is, the honor gains were good, but they weren't like crazy. You still had to grind a whole day to get a piece of honor gear, which I think is fine.
Yeah,
I think it was an acceptable rate of honor, even if you went a pre-made winning every game. Like it wasn't reaching crazy honor levels where you were like, okay, I'll just buy everything right now.
Well, it's also the marks, right?
Yeah,
the marks are a big thing. At least getting into the battlegrounds and losing them, you're getting marks, right?
But yeah, the pre-made thing, the pre-made problem was an interesting one because honestly, I found a lot of people that were complaining about pre-mades weren't even, you could just start your own pre-made. There were so many people doing BGs, you just invite a bunch of random people. Some of the pre-mades that were going around on white main at least were literally just random people, just like, yeah, whisper me if you want an invite, we're gonna queue. And that's it. It's just like, if you wanted a solution, just start your own pre-made and just go queue and you win most of your games because you're pre-made. And then you get the pre-made versus pre-made games, which are actually kind of fun. I actually kind of enjoyed it because some of them were kind of competitive, and it was kind of close because you got full pre-mades versus pre-mades.
My friend had a bug in it where he was playing Eye of the Storm, and he was a horde player playing as an alliance player, on the alliance side. So it was horde versus horde, and he was a horde member on the team that was playing from the alliance's perspective, right? He killed the flag carrier, picked up the flag, and accidentally walked over one of the horde's points when he was running past it and capped for himself. So he capped for himself off the horde having a base. So he got like 100 points for killing the flag carrier at their place and then capping on their cap. And it was like, wait, what the fuck? So there were some bugs. It wasn't perfect, which was expected, right? It wasn't expected to be perfect.
But yeah, I had a lot. I hope they bring it back, but I guess we'll see. But I had a lot of fun. But this kind of links into what the side effects of if they don't bring it back, or what's been happening to servers already. And I have the stats here for people that want to see. It's not pretty. So Kromcrush has gone down from Alliance, like it was already heavily favored Horde, to basically Alliance doesn't exist. They went down from 713 people rating to 88 people rating. The Alliance are gone from Kromcrush. The same thing has happened to Blaumeux, or is in the process of happening to Blaumeux. It hasn't happened quite as bad, but they're down from 507 Alliance down to 228. And more guilds are coordinating to leave. And I've heard that Herod is in the middle of organizing the exact same thing as well. It hasn't happened yet on Herod. Alliance are actually still healthy-ish compared to what they were before for the last 2 weeks. But from what I've heard, there's a mass exodus being planned there for all the guilds there as well. So on a lot of servers, the Alliance are kind of getting sick of getting camped, and they're exodusing.
Well, if you go to like for example, if you go to let's say like if you go to Fairlina, right? Yeah. Which is like a server that I'm on, right? If you go to Fairlina, the Alliance are actually going up, right? Because they're probably coming here, right? They're probably coming to servers that are a little closer to even, right?
Yeah.
Like the Alliance difference was, it was about to hit like 60-40, and it's gone up to 44-56. So it's like, even though, and they're both going up at about the same rate, And when people transfer off, they probably transfer to a place like this or Firemaw or Benediction, right? Because if you're escaping a place that is horde dominated, you don't want to go to a place that potentially is going to become horde dominated as well, like even Razorgore or Sulfuron, right? You want to go to a place that is like alliance dominated. That's the whole point of going to a different server. So you're trying to get away from that. Now, overall, the entire population is 46 to 54, right? In terms of alliance versus horde. So it's only a 4% swing a difference, which, granted, it's like 24,000 player difference. I think it's like, overall, this is what I expect. And it's probably the same thing for the horde on servers like Pagel or servers like Pyrewood. So people don't want to play on servers that are overwhelmingly one faction versus the other. So I think this is a natural thing. I think this is a problem that happened in the past, and this is why Blizzard started merging servers and started creating shards so that people could play with each other across server. But there aren't too many things out in the world that, for example, there aren't too many things out in the world that involve Alliance and Horde, right? Like, I'm not sure what there is that involves Alliance versus Horde out in the world that you want to be like, that if you are the 100% faction, you want some Alliance there. It's kind of like, oh, you want to get like, maybe a PvP thing done in like Honor Hold or something. There's nothing that like you can't really get without the Alliance. Maybe there's like one or two things, but you just capture the Spirit Towers. There's like a two or PvP things. It's I don't know. It feels strange, but it doesn't feel like it's like a bad thing. People will leave these servers. What's the solution? Like, what do you think the solution is?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Is like we're talking about a problem, but I'm like, I don't know what you expect Blizzard to do or how they're supposed to solve this. Like, in a way that is not going to upset people.
I'm
what do you
checking
do?
the ones for Whitemane. Yeah, Whitemane's having the same thing as well, where our alliance population is also increasing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's rough on those servers. Yeah, and I don't know what the solution is. Yeah, like you said, I don't know what the solution is. It's kind of rough for those guys on those servers. I do hope that they open up at least some free transfers for the people that are kind of stuck there, though.
Yeah, that would be nice bad. Because right now it feels like Right now, it feels a little predatory for Blizzard to be making money off of transfers for people on servers like these, where the population is fucked. Now, Blizzard is not a fan. Blizzard is not a fan of opening up free transfers off of a server like Blaumeux or something like that, where the population of the Alliance is dying. Because they're literally saying, all right, get out of here. There's only 200 of you left. You can get gone. If you want to leave, you can leave for free. Like, they're not going to do that. Instead, they're going to say, hey, Bloodfang, free transfers to Blaumeux. Like, that's what they're going to do, right? Because instead of... They are more of a fan of trying to create a 50-50 server by taking a 75 server and offering them free transfers to a server that has bad population than they are saying, hey, bad population server, we're just going to say, yeah, this is the coup de grace. You can leave. They're not going to do that, right? They don't give you free transfers off a server that's dying on one population. They offer transfers off of a healthy server to that. So they'll go, hey, Blaumeux Horde, you want to go to this other server? Like that's what they'll do. I don't think there's really a precedent for them saying you guys can get out if you want to. Yeah, but that to me feels a little predatory because they make money off of like this problem that is a player made problem, but it's one where people feel trapped and they have to pay, right? So
yeah, I mean it's funny. My guild was talking about
that's what they did to scare him and killed it. Oh, is that actually what they did to scare him?
I'm not actually sure what the original. How is Scarum now, actually?
Scarum's 100% a horde.
Is it still?
Yeah. So wait, what? No. They free exfers. They offered free exfers to Scarum at one point off of Fairlina or something like that. And I was like, not gonna go. They was like, hey guys, you want to go to Scarum? No.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. My guild was literally discussing this the other day when we were looking at this problem happening, and we remember the conversations that were happening when Whitemane was at its peak and they offered free transfers off. And everyone was like, yeah, come on, guys. Well, not everyone. Some people were like, oh, yeah, come on. It's not so bad. We can go to this other server and then we don't have to do a 5-hour queues and such. But then like every server that has been the free transfer servers and such has just tanked or like they had issues that the population has been super scuffed. It's just been horrible on every one of those servers, which only feeds back in the problem of now people are learning. They know, okay, if Blizzard offers the free transfer, you never take it. You never take it, otherwise you end up on a dead realm and you're screwed in the future and you have to transfer back. So I feel like they should try to do something different from what they've been doing in the past. But I don't know what the perfect solution there is. Yeah. But okay. We didn't talk about the Final Fantasy thing yet. So this is an interesting thing that's been cropping up. So if you are a streamer in the WoW space or a content creator in the WoW space, you've seen like a lot of the popular content creators and streamers are hopping on the Final Fantasy. Should I try out Final Fantasy test phase kind of thing after Asmongold started the trend? And I kind of wonder where this will end up, because there's still never been an MMO that's ever really challenged WoW, and this might not still challenge WoW. I have no idea where this will end up, but it seems like Asmongold has started some sort of trend where a lot of people are now checking out at least Final Fantasy. And the most interesting part has been in how Blizzard has treated the streamers that have been in that. The most stark difference has been this clip I found on the live stream, Phil, where Asmongold is literally has a stream sniper being annoying on stream, and all he has to do is be like, oh, should we report this guy? Yeah, maybe we'll report this guy. And the stream sniper is like, oh, no, please don't report me. Final Fantasy guys will actually ban me, please. And he just runs away. So I'll play the clip for you guys to see it. It's pretty good.
We'll be back online tomorrow morning. I will be back online tomorrow morning. Report the cactus guy? Yeah, I guess we could report him. How do you report somebody? Just a second. Contact us, harassment, character name or defender. Okay. So anyway,
it's like instant vanish. They're just like, oh god, wait, he's reporting. Get out of here, because like just the day before, all the stream snipers got hit with bans. The ones who were being obnoxious on his stream, the ones who were jumping on giant whale mounts and things, they all got hit by bans. So is it Square Enix who owns Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
now? It's Square Enix. Yeah, they hit all the stream snipers with bans, and anyone that plays WoW and is a streamer can tell you that the snipers can get annoying sometimes, and especially if you're a big streamer. And the devs don't do anything for you here. Like you're pretty much just left to your own devices here. If you get stream sniped, well, tough luck. Then you just gotta go to your second account, because that's how you escape the stream sniping. So the treatment has been very different, and I wonder if that's going to cause any effects where some people are going to be like, man, these Final Fantasy guys treat us so much nicer. They like help out and such. But I don't know. I don't know, because people are very attached to WoW. People are very attached to WoW. I wouldn't probably never swap to Final Fantasy. I like WoW. I love playing WoW. But
but that's a bad thing, because then they can
then
sit there and go, they can sit there and go, what are you gonna do? Play Final Fantasy? We know you're gonna fucking stay. Like, no. At that point, you're just like you're stuck. You can't do anything. And I would say you're probably, I mean, it's how everything kind of works, where like if there's no competition, then like they don't have to do anything. It's just like, what are you going to do? Play a different game? And we know you won't. So I think that's something that they kind of understand, that they can do what they want there and people won't like run away. So this is, I think, good, because it's always good to have some competition. And I don't know if it's going to make any difference, though. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is if it will.
Yeah. I really look forward to it. I really hope that it does make a difference, or like it at least like puts WoW on the foot. Well, like, oh wait, like Asmongold can swap. If Asmongold can swap, what about everyone else? I hope it gives them like something to be like, please.
To my knowledge, and from what Asmongold has said on his stream, is like the WoW devs don't like him, right?
Yeah.
Like what he said on his stream a few times is like, apparently the WoW devs don't like him and they think he's an asshole or something, and they just don't like having him around. So if he leaves, I don't know if they really care that much. Honestly, I'm not sure if it matters to them, but I guess the overall question that I'd like to introduce instead is, should large streamers of a game get preferential treatment? And my answer is yes. I know that's going to be controversial, but in my opinion, if somebody is giving you, essentially their job is they're marketing, and they're marketing your game to an audience, and sure, they're making money off of that from their Twitch and all of that, but is it something that you should give back to them to keep them interested in the game? Yeah, I think you should be. You should be doing something that rewards loyalty, not doing what most sponsors do, which is go, that's free advertisement for us. Why would we put any money into them? Because they're already doing it for free. It's the way that sponsors work in general. I'll explain that in a second, but it's what like League of Legends does with a league partner program, right?
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, which I think is actually a fantastic idea. I love that they did this. They did it with TFT as well. When like TFT was coming out and it was the League of Legends client on the beta and people couldn't get in, they gave the content creators like Disguised Toast, etc., even myself, they gave us whitelisted beta accounts that passed the queues, so that if you had like a 6-hour queue, you'd be instantly in instead. So because people don't want to watch your stream if you're in queue. People don't want to watch your stream if you're in queue. People want to watch the game. You're going to be exposing more people to the game than normal, as like the average person would. So giving you some preferential treatment so that you have loyalty to the game and that you're more likely to continue playing it, I think is the right move. Giving them skins to give away to help them with their business, right? Which helps you with yours, I think is the right thing to do. So a lot of sponsors right now work in a different way, where, for example, Raid Shadow Legends, the one that everybody knows about. My friend plays Raid Shadow Legends and actually plays it and enjoys it, but they won't sponsor them. And the reason is because why would they pay somebody who's already playing their game to play their game? You're already paying them for something they're doing for free. When you're sponsoring someone, you want to sponsor somebody who's targeting an audience that you don't already have, and you want to pay them to play your game. So you'll pay Snowme, you'll pay whoever, right? You'll pay Asmongold to play Raid Shadow Legends because his audience is not exposed to it because it's not what he plays, right? So as a sponsor, if you're sponsoring somebody, you sponsor the people who aren't loyal to your product already and pay them to play your game. You don't pay the people who are already doing it. So that's what like quote unquote the good business move is from companies. And it's seen as a bad business move to reward loyalty because those people are already exposed to the game and you're just putting money in to something that you already have, which I think is still the right move. I think, like I said, I've said this before, where like video games now, bad business is actually good business because we know what scummy business moves look like, right? So as gamers, we can sniff that shit out. We have a bullshit detector. We know when companies are being disingenuous. We know when sponsors are being disingenuous or streamers being disingenuous. So it doesn't work on us as well. And so I think the bad business moves are now the good business moves for video games. And I think it's what people when I say that, I mean like, companies have bad business moves. They're like, oh, that's not a good business move. It's not a good effective like use of our dollars. I think those are now the good moves that people should be making. Just like this, I think you should be investing in your streamers. I think your streamers are people who are going to expose people to your game, make them want to play it more, make them potentially pick it up, or make people want to have or make people want to try more things in your game, right? So I think it's like marketing that you should be investing in some way, shape, or form, as opposed to just taking it as free marketing, because as Asmongold is showing, there is a way that he will play another game potentially in the future. So yeah. You want to make people more loyal to your game and reward loyalty, as opposed to try to buy other people in and buy their loyalty. All right.
Yeah.
That's my thought process.
Yeah. I mean, to expand on what you said earlier with should streamers or should content creators have priority or a special treatment, that actually I remember when the League Partner Program got put into League of Legends, and there was pushback on that because people were like, well, this isn't fair. Why is this guy getting priority? But when every time I saw those topics come out, I thought, I mean, it is fair. That's the job. They are helping the company, so I don't see why like we would be as a community be upset that this person in who's helping advertise the game you love is getting priority for a certain thing in the game. Like he's just getting a perk for being the marketing for this game. I don't see like
Yeah.
I don't see the outrage, and every time I see the outrage, I get very confused because it seems like it's just par for the course. I don't understand why people get outraged over that.
Yeah, people get outraged because they want equality in these things, but the reality of the situation is it's not equal, and it shouldn't be equal, and you shouldn't act like it's equal. That's the thing, is you shouldn't act like it's equal in terms of what you're doing for the game versus what they're doing. They have a larger audience, right? Even if it's a small streamer, like that was when the League Partner Program came out. I think one of the biggest pushbacks on it wasn't just the preferential treatment of streamers in general. It was that there were people who one didn't play. Well, I guess I'll talk about two separate instances. It was one is when people when the TFT stuff happened, right? When the TFT, when people were getting the beta invites and shit like that, they were beta inviting people who didn't play League of Legends, right? They were inviting people who played Dota Auto Chess. They were inviting people who played like they're inviting like Hafu and stuff like that, right? People who weren't like necessarily League of Legends players, but people who they knew would like their game. So they weren't literally like rewarding loyalty there. They were giving it to streamers so that they could get marketing, right? And they knew they would like their game or thought they would like their game. So I think that was still the right move, right? It's just identifying what your player base is going to like. And then the other thing with the League Partner Program that I think was the most controversial part of it was the size of the streamers involved, because you had people who had like thousands of viewers. You had like Tyler One in the same program as like my girlfriend at the time who had like 100 viewers, right? So it's like, who is it better for, right? Who's getting more out of that, right? Having a collaboration between the two of those. It's like, what does Tyler gain from being a League partner that these other people, like some people in the League Partner Program were definitely helping others more than they were helping them, right?
Yeah.
And they would survive and grow even without the LPP. That was kind of the biggest thing about it that I thought was interesting. Also, the LPP gave them a way to kind of hold, not control, but like exclude people from things. Like when I think there was a thing where like somebody got kicked out of the LPP, right?
Yeah.
And then they didn't get invited to like a tournament. And you were like, it gave them more control over events where they were like, this is a Twitch Rivals League Partner Program event. And it's like, by the way, this guy can't come because he's kicked out. And it's like, So it created like a club that Riot could control for their marketing for their streamers. And that was another controversial thing, was it gave them more control over something that they normally didn't have a lot of control over. So, but they were doing more still. They were able to have tournaments, etc., and invite league partners. So yeah, it was
I
those
remember,
were some of the most controversial things.
I remember looking into that stuff, and there's a big clip of Disguised Toast talking about the difference in treatment of how, like, when he worked with Blizzard and then how when he worked with Riot, it's like night and day, where Blizzard just, they weren't for working with him at all, and even like blacklisted him at times. Whereas Riot is just like open arms, come Disguised Toast, come, and
because they want his audience, because he was not the audience that they had before. He was a Blizzard audience, right? Yeah. He was a Hearthstone player, and it's like, dude, and this is one of the things that I think Riot Games really understands, is you can accomplish quote unquote scummy things simultaneously while actually doing good things, right? It's like two birds, one stone. For example, if Disguised Toast isn't being treated well by Blizzard, you can be the hero and actually treat him well as a company, right? And what you'll do is you'll have him play your game more, and you won't only just increase your audience, right, of your game, you will also kill your competitor. If you treat your competitors like loyal, the people who are loyal to your competitors, if you treat them better than your competitors, not only do you gain their audience, but you sabotage your competitors, which is fucking a great move, right? Yeah. Because you look like a good business, you look like the heroes, you look like you fucking treat your people right, and people should be treating their loyal gamers well. And so yeah, it's you should definitely, like somebody said, cooking up their demise. Yeah, like it's what Final Fantasy is doing right now. Yeah. They're doing for Asmongold what Blizzard never did. So Blizzard either has to do, like Blizzard in the future either has to do what they're doing, right, and ban people who are being like dicks and shit like that, or they need to get constantly criticized for this in the future still, and then have this exact point of data where it's like, look what they did for Asmongold, and Blizzard won't do shit, right? Like, you will be way more heavily criticized now because your competitor has already shown that they will, with open arms, treat these guys well. And it's the right move, right? it's the right move. If somebody has been criticized for a long time that they don't take action or they don't do X or Y, and you immediately do it and go, look, that wasn't so hard, then their hand is forced, right? They're either forced to look bad or worse than they already do, or they're forced to change, right? And then even if they change, it's not as good because they're not the first people to do it. So
Yeah.
it looks like they're just scared at that point.
What would you like to see Blizzard implement if they were to do some sort of program like similar to Riot's program?
I would say one, I know there's a Discord that has like communication with game changes and things like that, or like, a Discord where they can talk to their creators about things, potential events, right? Where you can have content creators, because that's the thing, is one of the things that people really like about the League Partner Program is when they do things like Twitch Rivals, and there's the 5v5 of drafted teams with content creators. Like, what about a drafted team, arena team with WoW content creators, where like, Bobka's in a draft with fucking like Zico and Azael and Benruki and shit like that, and then people have to make these teams, right? And you don't know what's going to happen. So there's things like that you can do for fun that increase people's brands, that help them, give them things like, my friend got like a Dark Portal Pass thing, which I thought was a good thing. He got like a thing where he could it was like a raffle, like he could give away 10 Dark Portal Passes.
Some people got that. Yeah.
Some people got like the Dark Portal Pass, but I think it was like a good, like, scratch the surface type thing to see what it's like. Because you gave people like things to give out, which is free game time, which is a loss for you money wise, right?
Yeah.
As a company, you're just like, oh yeah, like, we just gave away free game time. That's not good for us. That's a loss of like $500 or something, right? So yeah, I think that's it's I feel like they're scratching the surface. They should just go deeper with those things, and it's the right direction so far. But yeah, that's kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, I mean, someone put an interesting thing in chat where they said that Riot is cooking up Blizzard's demise with the MMO, because all this time, like, Final Fantasy is the one with the spotlight right now because they're treating Asmongold so good in Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm sure you know a little bit behind the scenes as well, because Riot is working on their own MMO as well. People do know that Riot is working on an MMO. And if Blizzard doesn't shape up, I could see a lot of people swapping. If this MMO is like a WoW competitor, and if Riot does their thing where they've done with every other game they've released, like Valorant, where what they release is really good, I could see a lot of people swapping and being like, well, Riot treats us so well over here, and this game is huge as well, so why wouldn't we swap at that point? Because there's a lot of, the funny thing is as I've grown as a content creator and as I made more connections with people in the WoW scene, there's a lot of content creators who are kind of like burnt out or kind of sick of WoW, or like how the game has developed or how they've been treated, who are playing WoW because they're kind of pigeonholed into the WoW thing at this point in time. And if someone like Riot comes along with a good alternative, and it's popular as well, and it's fun, and they're treating their players really well, I could see that being the first thing to actually challenge WoW's like popularity.
Yeah. And one of the things too is I don't know if people know this, but Ghost Crawler, Greg Street, he works at Riot, and he's been working there for a good while now. I think oh man, how long has it been? Anyway, he's been a designer there I think since 2018. So it's been like 2014. Yeah, 2014. So he's been there like 7 years now. And then ended up getting like promoted or moved to the R&D development of or the R&D project of the MMORPG. And Greg Street was actually a guy who worked on as lead system designer for Wrath of the Lich King. So they basically have the guy who worked on Wrath of the Lich King doing the kind of the overseeing of the Riot MMORPG. So people are, one, excited about that. Two, some are not excited about that because they feel like that's where things kind of went astray. But from 2008 to 2013, I believe he worked there. So for that 5-year period of like Wrath and the 2 expansions after that were really where he kind of did his work. I believe it was like it was Wrath beta, so it was like end of TBC into the next 2 expansions. So some people are excited for that and think that he's like got a lot of knowledge or understands kind of what turned WoW in general. So he's got some like crazy ideas. He's a really good guy to talk to, and he's actually got a really good head on his shoulders. I actually really like Greg a lot. And he's got really, I like his Twitter too, because he's always open to like discussions on things. Kind of like he'll always pose the question. Like I think even recently he said healing in MMORPGs is a really tough problem to solve, because if it's too hard, there's too much pressure on healers and they get criticized for everything. And if it's too easy, healers get bored and nobody plays them. So he's like, it's really hard to like balance healers or healing.
Yeah.
Because if you make it too complex, if people get blamed for it. If you make it too complex for little return, then it's not fun to play, or it's only the challenging parts of it people want to play. Or if it's too easy, people get bored and don't want to play it. So he's like, how do you make healing engaging, not blamed all the time, but also like fun, right? And like not too difficult simultaneously. So healing with a skill cap is a hard problem to solve. But these are things that he'll think about, right? And so I think like as a designer, at this point he's got over a decade of experience. I think he started in like 1998 designing. So they have really good people on this. So I'm excited for the MMORPG from Riot.
Yeah,
and I'm a big like WoW player.
Yeah, and someone in chat brought up that Ghostcrawler did like dev water cooler stuff and talks with the community. That's a big thing with other companies like Riot and such, that they actually interact. For all the flack that they get, they at least try to interact with the community. Whereas Blizzard's kind of like this wall a lot of the time.
Yeah, he was one of the most active people communicating with beta testers during Wrath of the Lich King, and that's what he became known for. That's why, like, when you know like a designer's screen name, like Ghostcrawler, and people know it, that's different than just like, oh, the designers or the etc. Right? You're like, oh, what's going on with this team or that team? When you have a face to it and somebody who communicates back and forth, that's a good thing. Because back in the day, Blizzard, it was what was it? This was actually something just to talk a little bit about, like internally at Riot. One of the things that Riot didn't like was how, if you remember back in the day with like the WoW forums, you would have like a complaint or you would say something, and the person that would answer you is a community manager, right? A community manager would like talk in your thread, right? And it still happens nowadays, right? Like community manager will come in and say a response to something in like one of the threads on like a Blizzard problem, right? At Riot, they encourage the developers or the people who are working on things to go in there. I was told specifically, if I can add expertise to a Reddit thread or anything out there that I see on, like, somebody asked about casting, I can respond to it, right? But if it's like somebody's talking about like a Riot problem with like, oh, the report system or something, it's like, am I an expert on that? No. So I probably shouldn't fucking respond to that. And instead, I should ping somebody and be like, hey, this seems like an actual like legitimate Reddit thread that could use your feedback, and like hit him up on Slack and be like, hey, this guy like talked about this. I have questions about this too, but I was wondering if you wanted to respond to this or if you felt like it was worth responding to. Because community managers kind of create a divide between your community and your developers. It's almost like that Office Space scene where it's like, what do you do? It's like, I'm a people person. I work with people so that the designers don't have to, right? It's that thing where it's like, well, what do you do here? It's like the community manager is the middle person between the community and the developers and the designers. And instead, Riot likes to take that away and have you communicate directly to them or have them answer your questions directly. So I feel like that's really good. And that's something that like Ghostcrawler was doing, where he was actually talking to people, and that's why his name is known. And it feels like when instead of a community manager being like, oh, I'm going to pass that along, having the actual developer or designer respond to you is like way better, right? So
yeah,
I feel like companies should really adopt that. Not saying get rid of the community manager role in general. I'm just saying that community managers don't offer a lot, especially in this day and age where, you know, every average fucking designer is looking at Reddit too, right? Like they're seeing the feedback. So
yeah. I would love to have more communication from the Blizzard front, because like I said, it's a stonewall sometimes. The most communication I've had from Blizzard are from either Blizzard employees who happened to watch my stream or sub to me, or like friends of Blizzard employees, and that's my only line to them a lot of the times is through that. And outside of that, like there's just no communication a lot of times.
Yeah. it's it feels hard to get heard on some of these things, but yeah, Blizzard. I hope they find better ways to be a more personable company as opposed to one that is kind of old school in the way of, hey, you want to talk to us? We'll go through this, or you get an automated response.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't really like that. I don't know anybody who does.
But yeah, so yeah, that was kind of the topics for this week. I don't think I have anything else on the old list. We covered a lot. Zirene got to talk about his copium. We even got a here's a thing. I don't know if this GM if he's right or if I'm going crazy. But so I've been trying to get my collector's edition pet on my boosted toon on Felina because I have a rogue there. And from what I can tell, the NPC doesn't exist. Or rather, even if you make a new character right now in TBC, you're supposed to get this thing in your inventory. You claim it. It opens a quest line, and then you can turn in the quest. You get a collector's edition pet for having the original WoW collectors. And so I put in a ticket because I never got that. When I made a character, I didn't get the ticket, and then I boosted him and then the GM gave me the ticket. And then I replied like, okay, cool, I'll use it. And then I went to go use it. The NPC doesn't exist to turn in the ticket. But then I replied and said that, and I got a reply from the GM saying, no, the NPC is definitely there. But then I checked again today, and the NPC isn't there. So now I don't know if I'm going crazy, or does the NPC only exist on like one of the layers? Maybe is that like the weird things that's going on? I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm losing my mind there. It's very weird.
That seems really strange. I would think probably you're going crazy, man. Yeah, you're probably just going insane, dude. Yeah, no, I think you're it might just be misinformation. I mean, sometimes people respond with incorrect stuff, dude. There's that famous one where it was like God, what was it? It was a famous like thing where somebody said if you're having trouble with Malzahar in League of Legends, try taking cleanse. And people are like,
oh yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. How do you know that cleanse doesn't remove this? Like what? It's like QSS removes it, but cleanse doesn't. It's like, have you tried taking cleanse versus Malzahar? It was like some like support ticket or something like that. And people were like, what? Wait, do you play your own game? Oh God.
Zirene doesn't know this, but I main Malzahar as one of my mid champions. People hate playing against me because I'm the equalizer. I can go against someone who's way higher tier and just play really defensive Malzahar. Yep. And people hate playing against me because I just sit there and lane and farm. Good times as a Malzahar player.
I liked you before I knew that.
Well, you like it even more because my other I pick all my mid champions, by the way, Zirene, based on how cancerous they are and how much they annoy the other person. So like we have Malzahar. I played Fizz when Fizz was one-shotting people.
Oh, you're actually the worst.
I played. Then I realized I needed a third one because sometimes I was getting banned out in our 5-on-5s. So then I picked Zoe as the other as another alternative. So I said, I'm going to fill my champion pool in mid with so many cancer champions that they can't ban out all the cancer.
You're actually the worst. You are actually the fucking worst. Holy shit. Dude, unsubbed, unfollowed. Oh my God. That's... oh my God. How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself? Are you okay? What the fuck, Snow? Holy shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was prepared, guys. That's prepared episode 18.
Oh, no.
We will see you guys next week. Hopefully with BGQs back. Horde versus Horde, please. Please.
All
right.
And by
see
then,
you guys
he'll
next
add
week.
Yasuo to his champion pool.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to add... I'll see you guys next week with Yasuo on my champion pool as well when we talk League.
All right. Have a good one.